post. Well, welcome everyone. This is Coach Yayoi and Coach Eric of Energetic Life Now, and we are here today to talk to you on how to conquer your negative thoughts. And this is basically, we're going to cover a few things on what's called ANTS, ANTS, which are automatic negative thoughts. And we believe that thoughts are what create our feelings, and feelings and emotions create the actions that we take. So we are here to tell you about 9 different types of ants that are always crawling around in our heads and how to eradicate them and exterminate them. So I am Coach Yayoi of Brain to Belly, and I am a Dr. Daniel Amen practitioner, student, I guess. And I am also a neuroencoding specialist and a presenter. And my pal here, or my co-host here, is Eric Stenlake. Eric, please
Thank you,
introduce.
Yayoi. Yes, Eric Stenlake here from Energetic Life Now. So glad to have you guys joining us and finding out all about automatic negative thoughts and how that impacts us on a moment-to-moment basis throughout the course of our day. Now, like Yayoi, I am a neuroencoding specialist through Dr. Joseph McClendon III and the Neuroencoding Institute, as well as a licensed brain health coach from the Amen Clinic with Dr. Daniel Amen, and also a senior consultant with Franklin Covey. And I have had the honor and privilege of taking ants into not only my life personally and professionally, but also into my practice as well. So we're just super glad that you guys are here tonight and joining us on this call. So as we're taking a look at the 9 automatic negative thoughts, we want to keep a couple things in mind first. Is that when you're hearing the word automatic, that means that I am defaulting to the behaviors that I am accustomed to, meaning that as I am thinking and feeling about certain things that come up, and sometimes we call these triggers, sometimes we call these alarms, things of that nature, we now understand that those things are the backbone to what we do in a state of action. And based on that action, I am able to produce a result. Question is, am I getting the result that I want? And if I am, fantastic. If I'm not, there may be something I need to change within the whole process of moving from thinking and feeling to the action to having a result that I'm producing. So let's jump into the first ant, Yayoi, if we will.
Yes.
The first ant here is called the all or nothing ant. And this is really a state of mind and being of which I see things only as one way. And if I don't get everything that I want in that one way, it is completely nothing.
Yes.
Right. And so what that looks like, sounds like, and feels like to each and every single one of us is different. And I can remember when my kids were young and they didn't get their way, then they would throw a temper tantrum and things weren't working out for them. And it was all or nothing, right? Yeah. And that is a really dangerous place to be in long term. I might be putting boundaries and parameters around all or nothing, meaning this is what I want and this is what I'm agreeing to. And that's different than setting boundaries. And so the solution for this is really emphasizing that my life is filled with shades of gray. And when I get into the gray areas of life, I know that I can focus on progress and not perfection only. Because if I stay within, I'm only going to do this perfectly, then I'm going to fail because I'm not going to be able to complete that which I'm looking at because I'm doing something great, but I'm not perfect in it. So I'm giving it all, doing it all, or absolutely nothing, and I can't move past that.
Yes. And just as an example for brain to belly people, the all or nothing, it's either you're on a diet or you're not, right? So that is like the most typical all or nothing ant that is. So there you go. Now I'm going to take over on the second ant, which is just the bad ant. And what that means is they're only focusing on the negative and ignoring anything that's positive. For instance, you're just saying the economy is horrible. Okay, that just means that you're thinking everything is doom and gloom, right? You're not taking into consideration that there are other factors involved. And for instance, another one would be, oh, my performance on stage was horrible because I made one mistake. I forgot one line, something like that. That's You're going to base your whole life on one line, one mistake. So that is something that could be changed. And I would say for that one, you just practice balancing things out and focusing on what's positive and what's negative. So balance would be the one to look at for that one.
Yeah, thanks, Yayoi. Yeah, so you guys can see that when we get into that state of defaulting to those automatic thoughts and feelings that are in that negative, what an impact that's having on us. So let's take this into the third ant, which is called the guilt beating ants, which is man, that is really a tough one because I find that I'm using words like should, must, ought, maybe even more commonly are the shoulda, woulda, couldas, the things that I have guilt and shame over. And in that, I looking at myself and saying, I should have done better here. I must be perfect. Now, the flip side to that is asking myself, what might I do differently next time? What could I have done because this didn't work out? That's a whole different scenario than just looking at, oh, this just didn't work out. And now I'm terrible. I'm a loser. I'm no good. And I beat myself up. I get down on myself. And that is an automatic pattern. And when I do that consistently over time, that becomes part of who I am.
That becomes the narrative of who you are. And like Eric said, it's really about using compassion for yourself, self-love, self-care, and creating those feelings that say, no, we don't have to feel the guilt. It shouldn't be a should or could or wanna.
Yeah,
And, we all know Asian guilt, we know all the Jewish guilt, we know all these different types of guilt. So,
yeah.
guilt is a waste of time. Let's think of it that way. So
Mhm.
on to the next ant, which is the labeling ant, which we are very good at doing. And that is, I'm such an idiot. I made this mistake. I'm such a loser. I can't get a job.
Yeah.
I'm I'm such a poor, I'm just a poor person. It's all of those things that you label yourself, you label other people as well. And especially when you start labeling yourself as a negative thing, that becomes your default. So your brain doesn't really know what's true or false. So if you keep on saying, I'm a loser, you're going to start to believe that. And that's going to become your identity. You don't want that. You want your identity to be something that you can flourish in, something that can make you happy. So that is the labeling ant. And so focus on specific behaviors, not the identity that you created, or focus on the positive,
Mhm.
like I'm a winner.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Yayoi. Which is kind of funny when you think about it, because we understand, and sometimes it's not easy for us to practice in that mistakes don't define me,
Yes.
and that's something that doesn't matter what age you are. That is a very real labeling, and that I make a mistake and I let that define me, which takes me and throws me. It's completely out of my game of life. So now let's get into ant number 5, which is the fortune telling ant. And this is when I if I had a crystal ball right here and I say, okay, I'm gonna look at my crystal ball and I'm gonna predict the future of what's gonna happen. But I'm doing that with a negative perspective and a negative a negative outlook on that prediction of that negative outcome, I don't have evidence that that's going to happen. And so here's where I really want to challenge myself and like, is that really true? If I predict this outcome, is that really going to happen? Or am I in fear of what could happen? And so this is a little bit more tied in with the continuation of that labeling app, because when I predict my future in untruths, that's going to end up being that of which I default to. So now I'm not going to do anything because I know that I'm just going to fail. So
Right.
why do anything?
Right. And
Because
we,
I've looked into my magic crystal ball and it says that I'm going to fail at this. And so man, listen, I'm not even going to try.
and you just
And
become
so
coach.
what we want to look at here is really truth in the evidence to challenge that prediction. And so
Yes.
Dr. Daniel Amen, he tells us in when we're looking at these ants, and I do this all the time for myself, is I really take a moment to pause and say, is that true? Is what I'm thinking and feeling true? That if I do that thing, my predictable outcome is going to be negative? Or can I take the challenge of what I'm thinking and feeling and make it into something that's true? So I'm not defaulting to those patterns of negativity as I've done in the past, and really focus on being present in my truth.
Yes. And yes, those pesky little ants are all over the place, especially like you were saying, the fortune telling ant, where you're predicting things now, right? We're thinking, oh yeah, we have the power to predict. Well, you know what? Those uh, negative fortune telling ants can be obliterated, right? So the next ant, number 6, is the mind reading ant. Yes, I assume that I know what other people are thinking. So let's say, for example, I want to raise really badly, but I'm thinking, oh, my boss she's never gonna say, I'm gonna just assume that she'll never approve of it. So you don't ask, so you never try. And when that happens, you lose so many opportunities that are there for you. So, it's like they think I'm like incompetent. They think that I'm really dumb. So I'm not going to even try. So the solution is to, again, is that true?
Yeah,
And when you look deep inside, you know the answer.
yeah.
And if fear is stopping you, squish that ant. And really, please don't do that. And you don't have proof that you know what other people think.
Yeah,
You never know because we don't have ESP. We can't read another person's mind unless we ask.
yeah. Yeah, how many times have we stopped ourselves from doing something because we thought it wasn't going to work out or that we would fail? How many clients have we coached that said, "Oh, I can't go to the gym. I need to exercise, but I can't go to the gym because people are looking at me and they think I'm like bad and I'm not doing it." Really? Because you went and asked them, right? I mean, isn't that silly?
It
But
is
yet we
silly.
think about
Yep.
this and we feel it's happening. And so I'm getting out of there. I don't want to be ridiculed in the gym. And so now that moves us into the next ant, which is the blaming ant. Well, why aren't you going to the gym? Oh, it's all these people here because they're looking at me, they're judging me, they're telling me I'm bad. They're telling you you're bad when you're doing your leg presses or you're bench pressing. They all walk up to you and say, "Listen, yeah, Yayoi, you're terrible. Get out of the gym." No, it doesn't happen. So in the blaming ants, we blame others or circumstances for our problems. And a lot of times we look at this as situational or relational, and we
Yeah.
blame everything and everyone around us, and because we're now using the mind reading and the fortune telling to then push and focus that blame on them. I can't succeed because this isn't going to work because, and it's their fault, not mine. And here's where I want to shift that focus onto what I can control. And that's not always easy because that takes us taking responsibility for our own action and our choices of what we're thinking and feeling. And when I can own that, I'm not now blaming others because I say, is that true? Squash that ant. No, it's not. And I'm going to take that responsibility for my choices and my actions.
Yes. And that is such an empowering thing to do. And so the next ant is the less than ant. And as a woman, I guess that was one that I felt a lot of, which is believing that I'm inferior to others, that I'm not as smart as my fellow students, or I'm not as great an athlete as so and so. I'm not a good cook like my sister or my mother. Those thinking that you're inferior for some reason. And maybe somebody said something to you one time, but is that true? No, it's really just a reflection of that person. It's not true about you. Your truth you create. So recognizing that you have your own strengths and just stop that comparison. I know it's hard. I still, catch myself and I'm like, oops, squash those ants, right? So it's something that we have to work on. But everyone is different. We're all unique. We all have our strengths. And maybe somebody's looking at you and saying, wow, I can't believe that she has such great penmanship. Or okay, that kind of tells my age. I'm sorry. Um, or, they might say, wow, I love the way she dresses. She is so stylish with all her accessories and everything. Or it could be something like, look at the way she speaks. She's so articulate and persuasive, right, in her speaking. So those are different strengths that we all have. Don't compare. You are you. Love yourself. So
Oh, that's great. I love that one. Thank you. Yayoi. So the last one here is the if only and or I'll be happy when. Gosh, if I could just win the lottery, I'll be happy then. If I could just figure out, like, if I need a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, if I just had a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, then I'll be happy. Really? I don't think so. You're going to find something else in your life that's going to fall into the if only and I'll be happy when category. So this is believing that happiness is conditional and achieving something in the future. And that's a tough one because I'll be happy when all in a space of conditional, situationally, and relationally, right? If I can just have this relationship be like this, if only this would happen, then I'll be happy. Then it's all going to work out. This is a dangerous one because
yes,
it can really get us in a tough way that brings us down and doesn't allow us to be happy. And that I don't want to be in that space. So if I only have more money, I'd be happy. I'd be happy when I get a promotion. All of these things that we can think of as we're dreaming about what would it take for me to be happy? Well, the solution to this is simply this is cultivating contentment, being in the present. So sometimes with this, we think about, well, these things happened in the past, and if only they didn't happen, I would be happy right now. Nope. So we're going to separate ourselves from what happened in the past. Be present. Remember, the fortune telling answer is all about, oh, if this happens in the future, I'm going to be happy. No, it's all about being right here and being in the now and being present and being content and saying, I am happy. I am in joy. I am in peace. I am in contentment and not postponing happiness to some other time and place
yes.
in a situation or relationship that we are in.
Yes, and I'd like to point one thing out that I see often with Brain to Belly and in my profession as a wellness coach. I see so many people saying, I'll be happy when I lose those last 10 pounds or those last 5 pounds, or when I can be a size 2 or whatever, right? And the fact of the matter is, I've been there, I've done that. Okay, I've gotten there, but I wasn't happy. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? And then those other ants start coming up, the inferiority ant, or I'm not good enough ant, the blaming ant, right? Because then you start blaming yourself too. And so I just wanted to point that one out because you can't be conditional. Be present, count your blessings. Just wanted to mention that I interviewed this woman who was 100 and almost 107, and I asked her what her secret to longevity was. She said to have a positive psychology or mindset and to count her blessings. So I think this one especially is not to put conditions on and to count your blessings in the present is
Yeah,
really important.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you, Yayoi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, friends, as you guys have been listening to us and talked about the ants here, we want you to know that this is coming from Dr. Daniel Amen's book here, which is Conquering Your Negative Thoughts. And this is a oh, you got one too, Yayoi. Yeah, it's a fabulous, fabulous book, and we highly, highly recommend it. Now, listen, we're not getting any kickbacks from this, although we probably should call Dr. Amen and see if we can work something out. But here's what we need to for you guys to understand is in that book there's a lot of information there about the ants, as well as there's other chapters in there that we're not getting into tonight because this is an introduction
Yes.
to the book and to what Yayoi and I are going to be doing in the master class that we have created around the automatic negative thought. Because I can tell you, as a teen and parent and family coach, this is something that we deal with all the time. Because from kids from early on into young adulthood, these ants come up. It comes up for the parents. It comes up for me. And the biggest question is how do I move through that space of what I'm thinking and feeling about what's going on with myself, others in the world around me, to navigate through that with a sense of purpose so that I begin to default into these patterns of behavior that I'm going to get the results that I want because I'm not focusing on the negative. I'm focusing on what I can do and looking for opportunities and being in that state of optimism in in here right now and being present.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Great learnings. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate your comment, presenter and elite coach, I believe. Yes, thank you for that comment. Um, and it's like Eric said, we really believe that our thought patterns and our feelings contribute to all this. And we also wanted to emphasize the power of positive thinking, like I said. Um, if a 107-year-old woman is telling you who has gone through the Holocaust, she lost two of her adult children, someone like that is saying that. It's got validity. And as all of us know, negativity can harm us. Negative thoughts can easily harm us, like these ants, blaming ants, less than ants, the fortune telling ants that we're so good at using, right? And the less than ants, right? But those can be squashed. We can change that, like we said, with positive thinking and focusing on gratitude, doing affirmations, also practicing, daily rituals that are going to give you more self-love, self-care, and sometimes it's, doing exercises that are going to create more awareness for you. So that's something that we will touch on more in our masterclass, but we just wanted to share a little bit to show you that, these ants can be eradicated, I will say.
Yeah.
And just to kind of show you that, we went through all these 9 ants and they are pesky. They really are. And, Eric and I have been in this world of coaching and positivity for a while now. Yet we do catch ourselves occasionally. We're human. We catch
Yeah.
ourselves. And I think the fact that we do catch ourselves is a big plus. And it's like, yay, pat yourself on the back for that, right? But we want to help whoever is out there to be able to get rid of those ants, or at least default to a positive mindset and positive psychology.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Yayoi. And we're both super excited about what's coming next with our masterclass. And so Yayoi is going to pop up on the screen here for us all, a little bit of more information about our upcoming masterclass. And as you guys see this, we're entitling it, your mind, your rules, and how to, like Yayoi just said, how to identify and eradicate the ants that are sabotaging our success and happiness. And so there's QR codes down there on the bottom, and of which you can scan and go through the process of filling out your information and getting ready to join us. We're going to have a few choices because I'm in Cali and Yoi's in New York, and so we want to accommodate coast to coast if we can do that. So you'll see the dates on there, and we're going to have 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 8 o'clock Eastern time slots just for you guys in convenience sake
Yep.
and around your work schedule. So you get to choose choice A or choice B.
Yes. Like a Chinese menu. And
Yes.
and this is an introductory price because this is our um first time doing this together, and we'd like to have people, get an opportunity to get to know this and understand it. So it's an introductory price of $99 for the 5 weeks. And normally it's $499. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of cutting it back. And like we said, we're giving people a choice. Also, we will be recording these sessions as well. So if you do purchase the 5 week and if you miss a class, you will get the recording. And there will be a workbook for you to use so that you can follow along and actually do these activities so that you will default to positive thinking instead of the ants crawling around in your brain. That's a
Yeah.
great image, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, friends and family, we just want to say thank you guys for tuning in today to watch this, and we hope that you will take the next steps and come join us at our 5 week masterclass here, where we're going to go really in depth to focus on these ants and for you and your family, your loved ones, your friends and family, and how to default your best behavior to increase your happiness and joy and be more at rest and peace within you.
Yes.
Any last thoughts before we close out?
Yes, just want to mention that, if you're thinking about your health and you want to release some weight, or you're thinking that you just want to get more toned, you want to start an exercise program, instead of starting in January, why not start now? That's another thing you might want to think about and get a head start, and you won't have to worry about all the holidays. And after you're going to say, oh, I want to do this after the holidays. Well, you're going to have a lot of those guilt ants, I hate to say it, with
Mhm.
you as well. So you might as well not get them, and not make any extra guilt ants, and just squash them ahead of time. So that's just
Yeah,
something that I
that's
want.
great. Yeah, thanks, Yo. Yeah, we're not waiting until the new year. We're gonna end 2024 with a bang. So our class launches on Thursday, October the 24th, and we hope to see you here. And would love to have you guys. If you have any questions, you could find us both on Facebook. You always at Brain to Belly. I'm at Energetic Life Now. And drop us a thought if you have any questions. We're there. You can message us there and ask us anything that you
Yes.
want about the class coming up.
And we firmly believe this is one of the easiest ways to start getting into that positive mindset, positive psychology.
That's right. That's right.
So thank
All
you.
right, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us on this. We wish you all the best, and hope to see you on the 24th. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.